Okay, good morning. Looking in the chat very quickly. Zane Dad, welcome back my friend. Not seen you for a little while. Hope you're keeping well. Zane, would you mind confirming what the sound level's like, buddy? As we watch this British Airways A320 on its way out. What's going on here? One beautiful morning here. You get some great skies in the northeast. Thanks, Zane. I must confess, I nearly thought I miscalculated this morning. I was sure it was going to be daylight here by 6, but at the point I arrived to set up, it was still pretty dark. So this will be our first departure, and we have a converted freighter, special freighter, on its way from Edinburgh, probably about 12 minutes out or something in that region. So I think we'll be pretty much into the action straight off. After this there's a procession of departures, which is one of the reasons why we put the show on. A bit light on arrivals, but there you go. So while we wait for this plane to taxi out, hello and good morning to everyone from Newcastle International Airport. Early bird hours here in the UK. If you're joining the show from further afield, please do let us know in the chat. We'd like to know where you are. For anyone new to Plane Sailing Aviation, I'm Mark, your host. My pleasure to be in your company. And we are going to be on air till about 7:30, so relatively short and sweet. Sure, there was something about red sky and morning shepherd's warning, but the forecast today is pretty favourable. So 14 departures expected during the course of the show, and with the incoming freighter, a converted 737, that'll give us 2 arrivals. So as unfavourable as the weather and unsettled as it has been recently, tendency towards showers and so forth, today definitely looks decent. Something in the region of 1 degree at the minute. Less than 5% chance of rain during the course of the show. We'll take that. West-southwesterly winds, so we are operating from runway 25, which is the end that you're looking at. If you go over that skyline there, you'll be out towards the North Sea eventually. Wind speed steady at 15 mile an hour, 13 knots. Supposed to be a bit gusty. We'll do the windsock in a bit. It is a little bit blowy. For those of you that might be new to Newcastle Airport, that's the metro line in the background. Pretty regular service to the airport. Debbie, good morning to you. Welcome to the show. Zane, there is a plan that the airport have, I think it's their 2035, 2034 expansion plan, to go another 700 metres past what you can see there as this A320 lines up. So on paper, yes, they'd have to move a road, but they have that plan on paper, yeah, which would obviously give them the potential to run bigger aircraft here. We've seen the Jet 2 Alicante flight taxiing out, so that'll be the next to go after this. 50 minutes or thereabouts to Heathrow. So I did say there was a Alicante flight on its way out, and there it is. .737, which is the type that Jet2 fly from here. Zane, I think it's so they can run heavier aircraft here, it must be. Presumably from a freight point of view as much as passenger. I must confess I never delved into the small print, but I think 700 meters buys you an awful lot more in terms of the bigger types you can operate and payloads and so forth. Do I think it'll happen? I'd like it to, but I'm not sure. Like I say, behind the hedge line there is a road which would have to be relocated. Not insurmountable, but adds another layer of complexity. I mean, it's a cracking airport here. I'm not just saying it because it's my local airport, because I'm not by birth local to the area. And it would be great to see further expansion, skillfully handled. Quite what the local residents would feel about it, of course, is really where it's at. I don't know, Zane, in terms of what it would take. I mean, usually with these things it can take years to get planning permission through, but this plan is something like 2035, and so plenty of time on that one. I mean, the A1 in Northumberland is still awaiting its dualling, and there's all kinds of planning type issues, so I don't know. Time's on their side. I suppose if we were talking about an airport in China, we'd probably be able to get the runway down in a couple of years, if not sooner. But in the UK, because of the various regulations and stuff, and that assumes the airport think the business justification remains there. Right, I can see our passenger converted freighter on the horizon, having not long departed from Edinburgh, so we'll pick that one in a minute. I'm thinking this will Jet2 will turn and burn, which clearly is. Getting a wriggle on. Sorry folks. So, welcome to anybody that's recently joined us for our early bird show. Might not be early where you are. If so, let us know. So this plane off to Alicante. Get onto our incoming freighter. So folks, I'm rough handling the tripod there. You can probably see that little star in the sky. That's our incoming plane. In fact, while we await that, keep the action flowing. KLM on their way out to Amsterdam. The 737. having flown that service recently, I can only speak in very favourable terms. Andy Taylor, good morning to you. Captain New Productions, good morning as well. Welcome back both. Yeah, Debbie, I think COVID has definitely been a understandable disruptor, hasn't it, in terms of services and how things have kind of been reinstated. Yeah, I can't do an accent with Debbie. I'm a Midlander, me, as you probably will have deduced. Here we go. So this is an incoming Boeing 737 freighter operated by ASL. Started life with Aeroflot, interestingly enough, back in 1998. And I would like to say I can remember when it was converted to a special freighter, but I've forgotten that piece of information. You get the idea though. Started off with passengers, now moving freight about. First arrival of the show. This plane's a regular visitor here. I think it's pretty much daily, certainly Monday to Friday. And I will confess, I do have a soft spot for freighters. Not that we see many here. So next to go, the KLM Amsterdam flight. You can hear a couple of startups at 10 o'clock to my current position. So I think there'll be some others lining up shortly. So I would assume as soon as this vacates, KLM will start rolling. We've just been given permission to line up. Just going to take a quick picture of this one. So your screen would have stuttered momentarily. Sorry about that, folks. I'm a sucker for a nice skyline in the background. And Alan T, good morning from Colville. How are you, buddy? Alright, so I'll stay with this for a second. As soon as I see KLM rolling, I'll peel off. Coffee Stack, good morning to you. Oops, hang on. I think we might have some action rolling. I was hypnotised by the freighter. I'm a tea man myself, but I do oscillate with coffees as well. Either would be great right now. A bit chilly. Similar to the Heathrow flight, really, about an hour to Amsterdam, 50 minutes depending on what mode the pilot wants to run in. So as always, remiss of me not to mention. But if you like what you see, please do hit the like button. Helps us massively with YouTube. If you're not yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing. No hard sell from us on that, but again, it costs you nothing, helps us massively with YouTube, so thank you for that. Alan T, good to hear, mate. It's a good question you pose there, Zane. I think it's in the eye of the beholder, and of course if you looked at it from a traveller's point of view, I can speak highly of Newcastle. I've never flown from Edinburgh or Glasgow. In terms of plane spotting experience, if you're going to force me to choose, probably Edinburgh. I just love the Pentland Hills in the background. It's just so scenic. But to be honest, I like them all. We streamed from Glasgow a few weeks ago and absolutely loved it there as well. Debbie, I'm about half an hour away, so not far really. So this is definitely home turf. Generally with our streams, if you look us up on YouTube, for the most part it's Newcastle, Edinburgh, and then we kind of do a regular somewhere else kind of visit, just to try and keep it fresh for everybody. So we were at Dublin at the weekend. We're still tying up some details for this weekend, but there's a very high probability that we will go somewhere further away, not overseas, but somewhere different for us in the UK. Well, Zane, you're not far away, are you? No, it's not far. Jet Spotter, good day to you. Hope you're well. I don't think I've met you in the chat before, so if I have and I've forgotten, that's because I'm getting forgetful all of my 57.5 years. Good to meet you anyway. Welcome to the channel. I'm Mark. So for anyone that's just joined us, is the Air France just over the top there, the hot livery. That can't be far off being due to go. Jose de Queres? Sorry, I'm not fabulous at pronunciation, Jose. Johannesburg. By jingo, that is some distance off for us. Now, let's have a look. Oh, we've got Jacques van der Berg. So we're getting South African news. Brilliant. What time of day is it there? Because when we kind of decided to lay the stream on, obviously we broadcast to more than a UK audience, and obviously in the UK some people are okay with early starts and some prefer the later starts, but of course in different time zones there's, you know, different audiences to meet. Alan T, Teesside International, what's that like? I have to confess, Alan, I've yet to go. It's pretty light on traffic. We keep threatening to go just to see what it's like. I don't think it's live stream friendly, but we do have an intention when the weather warms up a bit just to go out there and have a look and perhaps shoot some feature footage for the channel. Martin Reed, good morning to you from Mallorca. No, I'm going to guess Martin, but it's nice and warm. I've got all kinds of summer mental imagery going, whereas here in the UK it's what you might expect around Easter. Jack says 7:20 local. Okay, so it's a fairly early show for you guys as well then. In fact, because I like my cricket, you're right, when we play test cricket it's not too dissimilar time wise. Good morning, Harry T. Don't think I've met you in the chat before. So you're near London City. We streamed from there back in January. Absolutely loved it. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it, to be honest. You know, with the steep rates of descent, the city skyline, fantastic. definitely going back there. I must confess, if other people are streaming from there, like SDTV or London Plane Spotting, I usually drop in. Quickening Cat! Hello! I was starting to worry about your QC Cat. So you've been in the Lurkers Lounge. As always, just want to check that the refreshments are up to snuff. Andy Taylor, Colorado for you. Did you not celebrate your birthday on Sunday? I have it in my head that you turned 59, but I don't know, I get forgetful. So in terms of what we've got today, I'm just going to move the camera around a bit so we can see the skyline. So anyone new to the show, there's a control tower, all 45 metres of it. I don't know if you can make out the Emirates sponsorship on the front, about 2/3 the way up. Didn't really jump out, does it? So the tower you're looking at, 45 metres, as I was saying, opened in September 2007. Quite like that wasted style. And if we just pan around, for anyone that's unfamiliar with the airport, fire station, you can see the training fuselage, obviously well loved from much practice. And then here's our single runway, just over 2,300 metres, and we're operating because of the west-southwest, west-southwesterly wind. So runway 25, North Sea behind there, and if we go over this way, we've got the Aviation Academy where they train in operations, aeronautical engineering and cabin crew. The business jet park is at the back there as well, as is the Flying School and Aviation Club. Right, let's get us back to the main event. I'm just going to adjust the tripod slightly, folks, so please do bear with me. That's no worries, QC. You've always missed when I can't see you. You've got cult status, you see. So folks, that was me boosting up the tripod while I just centre a couple of bits. The trouble is when you get ready in the dark, a bit like getting dressed in the dark really, things don't always quite work out how you were hoping. All right, Harry T, yes, SDTV, yep, great coverage. Saying that's interesting, but Turkish might start flying from Newcastle. I agree, that would definitely be a boost for the airport, and as you say, the connectivity. There's quite a few Turkish facing services from here. Sun Express have recently started up. We've got Corridon. I'm trying to think who else fly here in the summer. Certainly last summer, Freebird. So I'll look out for that one, because if they do, bound to be a water cannon salute and all that malarkey. Simon Kirby, I was thinking of you on the drive here. There was a little bit of information that I had that on one of the Loganair flights that's going to go out during the course of the show, that the captain's name was Loganair. I've been checking in the meantime though, seems that might be a red herring. How are you, buddy? So let's have a quick look to see. As you might expect, flight radar, I reached for it and it just timed out on me. So on air till 7:30 folks, literally here for departure traffic. We've had a freighter come in a short while ago, we might get to see that go as well. Only one other arrival expected, that being a Ryanair. At the minute I see nothing transponding for me. So in terms of airlines, we've seen British Airways and KLM go out. We've got Air France yet to go. A couple of Loganair flights, Ryanair, Jet2 and Chewy. So I'm just wondering who is going to take the accolade of going out first on the planes that we can see. Well, both Chewy flights are due out at 6:30, so they should be, or at least one of them, ready to start moving. Air France, I'm just looking here, have been delayed, so they're now due to go out at show's end at 7:30, so they'll probably be the last plane of the show. So it looks very much like Chewy with their 737s, a Mallorca flight and an Alicante flight, and then we've got two Ryanairs, one of which you're looking at the minute, one off to Shannon and the other off to Fuerteventura. Right, Chewy are pushing back with one of their flights, and this will be the Mallorca flight. Let's find it. There you go. Simon, I don't think it sounds pretty legit. Miles Harrison, good morning my friend, welcome back to the show. Simon, it's not just early in mod terms, it's early for my lad as well, Eddie. I mean, I wouldn't expect the mods to turn out at 6 in the morning. I think that's above and beyond. But flesh and blood, I said, Eddie, you are going to be there, aren't you? The mods put a shift and a half in on this channel, so I definitely wouldn't be expecting people to be turning out at 6 o'clock. I just looked at the number of departures and I thought, you know what, weather looks decent, give it a go. As I was saying earlier in the show, people watch from all around the world, don't they, aviation channels of different flavours, so I thought we'll show it and see. I've got to be honest, I mean I'm retired now, but when I was at work, I'd either be sitting there watching the news, having a cup of tea and trying to get my thoughts together, but actually watching the news, it's just the same old stuff, isn't it? Kind of repeated every 15 minutes. It's always better to pick up a live stream of whichever flavour you like. See if we can get in a bit closer. I think this will be on the move. Simon, Eddie's probably on his 43rd dream or something right now. To be fair, when I was his age, I used to sleep like a kitten. So, the Mallorcan Express, ready to roll. So, welcome and good morning to anybody that's just joined us recently. From Newcastle International Airport, I'm Mark, extending a warm welcome to you all. So welcome to our departures early bird live stream, on air till 7:30. So, decent range of action. I mean, it's not Heathrow here, that's obvious. But for a regional airport, a nice concentration of departures. This will be the first of the two chewy departures, both due for 6:30. In fact, the second one looks like it's turned as well. So back-to-back chewy action, I'm thinking. Just reminding myself where the second one's going. I've got a notion it's Alicante. Ryanair are now pinging for their Shannon flight, pushing back as we speak. Let's have a bit of that while we're... Oh, you probably just saw the nose of the Alicante Chewy. Feels kind of weird really to say we are just into the last hour of the show. Bearing in mind we've only been live for half an hour. Oh, now we've got some rolling motion. So there's Alicante. There's our windsock. So yeah, pretty gusty. And there's our 737 off to Mallorca. Yep, Miles. All jetting off for a bit of sunshine. EU Rambler, good morning and thanks for your kind words, buddy. Entirely my pleasure. The one thing you can pretty much always rely on the days of course where it's not raining, is you get some great early morning skylines at Newcastle. In fact in the northeast generally. We've lived up here for what, 10 years or thereabouts, and it's, yeah, not quite what we've been used to. So, first of the two chewy departures, that being the second. To be fair, they're only marginally late out, and I subject to air traffic control and all that malarkey. I'm pretty confident these will get to where they're going on time. Wendy, good morning to you. I think we've met in the chat before, but for just to be sure, I'm Mark anyway, Wendy, so yes, Simon, I think it's one of the features here. Probably this hour and a half is probably, in the summer anyway, one of the higher traffic densities here. That's why I thought I'd tip out, give it a go. If folks like it, I'll do it again. Eddie might like his Zeds, but I'm a bit of an early riser me, so well, it's certainly different to Shannon, Miles. No disrespect to the good people of Ireland, but I'm fairly sure you don't go there for a tan. It is quite interesting though, Shannon along with Dublin, I think are the only two airports in Europe where you can clear American passport control outside of the States. Sure I've got that right. So I'd imagine we'll be rocking and rolling. I don't think there'll be any lingering around. So as always folks, if you've yet to hit the like button, still musing on subscribing, it'd be fantastic if you could do both. Don't cost you anything, helps the channel massively. Ah, that's the first chewy out. There'll be the second. Michael Painter, good morning to you, sir. Ah, Miles, I do miss Britannia. First airline I ever flew with. A Britannia flight to Tenerife. I've said on previous shows I was, by modern standards, a fairly late flyer. When did I go there? 86, which would have made me what, 21, something in that region. Been plane spotting since I was about 6 or 7, but took a while to get on a plane. It sure is, Alan. Thing about Northumberland, I mean obviously it's not unique to Northumberland, but we do seem to have plenty of wind turbines. It's almost like a flag, isn't it, when you look at the skyline? The different colours of the sky and then the green of the hedge and trees. Court line TriStar for you. You are showing your age, Miles. Of course I'm showing my age by saying that you're showing your age. So, Alicante bound. Right, where's our Shannon flight? There it is. Sunny Shannon. Well, sometimes. Simon, you were Sky Service A320. That's your way of reminding me that you're much younger than I am, isn't it? Just trying to think why Sky Service are in my head. Something or other, I can't quite remember. Well, that's going to torment me for the rest of the show. I don't know if it's an aircraft that we'd looked up the history of that had originally started out with Sky Service. Oh, it's going to bug me. Michael Bass, good afternoon from Negros Island, Philippines. Nice 32 degrees. Beautiful, buddy. What time of day is that? Anyway, I don't think we've met before. Michael and Mark. Looks like we're rolling. I'm sure you don't, Simon. Metro train in the background, so let's have a look, see what's on stand. So looks like Jet 2 are still boarding in the foreground. Bristol Brits, don't think I've heard of that type. DC-10, very iconic. Good morning, Martin Batchelor. Boeing 707. Very cool, very iconic. Oh, looks like Loganair are on the move. Can't quite remember if this is Exeter, Aberdeen or Southampton. Let's have a quick butchers. Sorry folks, I'm just oh, it's not showing up. We've got that Loganair issue, of course, haven't we? The type or age of the transponders on Loganair don't tend to pick up on flight radar. Is it ASDB is the optimal for flight radar, and the use of MLAT, multilateration, for other types. And for multilateration to work, if I remember correctly, you need at least 4 points of reference, which might explain why this isn't showing. Still, many ways to skin a cat. Let's have a quick look and see what the departures list shows. Well, Jet 2 have their Faro flight transponding away cheerily. So folks, I'm just trying to pan and reference flight radar. I'll give up the ghost. Southampton, thanks QC Cap. As always, I have my little pocket warmers inside my coat pocket, but the minute your hands are out, it tends to freeze them off a bit. And then the tablet that I use to do all my browsing doesn't seem to recognise me when it thinks I'm dead. Good morning, Paul Rusher. How are you, buddy? So what I think on, because I was musing on this earlier on, we're going to do a pop-up stream today as well from Newcastle. So we plan to be back on air. I was doing an R-ring, but can't resist it. About 1:45 through till 3 o'clock. There's a decent packet of movements. Weather forecast looks pretty benign, so we're going to do that. Good morning, Phil Tovey. How are you this fine morning? Well, we have an arrival imminent as well from Gdansk in the form of a Ryanair 737. And talking of Ryanair, their Fuerteventura flight has just turned and is ready to go out. I'm guessing everybody saw, you'd have to, wouldn't you really, the drama from Dublin Easter Sunday. That nosegay did look a mess at the end, didn't it? Good morning, Janelle. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're keeping well, Jan. So this show on till 7:30. I think Air France will be the final plane of the show. Should have gone out at 6:20, but it's gonna hang on for us. Awfully sporting. Expecting this one to go up like a rocket. Embraer 145. Looks like this is going to have to hold for the incoming Gdansk flight, although I haven't got visual on it. It must be turning. Good morning, Tina York. How are you this fine morning? 3 degrees in Warwick, Filtovi, very chilly. I think we might be in that ballpark, certainly in terms of the chilliness now. I think we're going to stay rain free for most of today. I think it's supposed to rain heavily in the evening, later afternoon, which is why we're going to do a pop-up stream 1:45 through till 3. Weather forecast looks too good to ignore. Well, the incoming Ryanair Gdansk flight is just about visible. I'll hold off zooming on it for the minute. Just looks like the North Star. I'm just going to rotate the camera for a couple of minutes. Bit of Jet 2 action. This plane off to Faro. Birdsong here is lovely. I know you don't tend to go to the airport for birdsong. Wind's advertised at around 15 mile an hour, 13 knots or thereabouts, gusting up at about 30 mile an hour. I don't think we've quite hit those peaks yet. Also taxiing out is the Ryanair Fuerteventura flight. So we'll cut to the incoming Gdansk one next. So oddly enough, that is the final arrival of the show, being heavily weighted on departures this morning. So as soon as this vacates, we will be expecting Loganair's Embraer E145 to be given the nod to line up. Well, it looks like Jet 2's going first. See you cutting in the background. So yeah, the Jet 2 Faro flight has cut in and is now backtracking up the runway. So we'll stay with this one for the minute. Good morning, Audrey McDonald. Welcome back, Audrey. Hope you had a great weekend. Yeah, the drama at Dublin, it could have been so much worse, couldn't it? Definitely not one for the reluctant flyer, is it? I think we'll just about get this plane home before Jet 2 get the nod to roll. Oh, that's interesting, Martin Batchelor. I will look that up. Possibly with a cup of tea when I get in. So there's the Jet 2 Faro flight. And away we go. Looks like Loganair's having to give way to this as well. You're not tempted then, Audrey? So, this plane bound for Fuerteventura. So, where are we now? Last half hour of the show. So hopefully you're enjoying what you see. Been a pleasure to be in your company. So for anybody that's recently joined, I'm Mark, your host. We are going to be back on air again at 1:45 for a relatively short flight. Aviation pun intended. On until about 3 o'clock. Be more of a mix of departures and arrivals, including the departure of the Emirates 777, which for us is our star heavy. So hopefully folks will be able to join us. That's just me trying to re-energise my pocket warmers. Go on, Simon. I daren't ask. Who's your friend on the triple? Right, that should enable Loganair's Southampton flight to start rolling. It's still there. Doesn't look like it's planning on going anywhere, does it? Eddie, good morning to you. Ken Alloway, good morning to you as well. Hope you both really well. Simon, you must have some kind of program that generates these Emirates. You got to use that one on Lewis. Now W, good morning to you. Hope you're well. I also hope it's a little bit warmer in Belgium than it is here. Looks like we've got some Loganair team action going on. So is this one going to start moving? Maybe it's not. I'm thinking there must be some kind of technical issue with the Southampton flight, saying that it's not returned to terminal and no ops vehicles have headed off in that direction. So the plane you're looking at, or you'll be looking at if I kept panning, is an Aberdeen flight. Blacksboro 7718. How goes it? Shannon? All the way out there in Australia. Oh, you're in Germany now. How cool. Rained in the night, but fine now. Not that warm. Oh, for some warmth at the minute. What part of Germany now? Oh, I'm catching up. Son is helping out with lambs and milking sheep on a farm, and Nell's pretending to catch up with the paperwork. That's a core competence. Oops, plane's moved. I was just looking at the chat. Good morning, political bias. How you doing, buddy? Simon Kirby, you cannot fault Ken Alloway's dedication. You can ask Eddie what happened to him. That's up for grabs. Nell's in Rhineland, Palatine. Nearest city is Prum. Can't say that's one I've heard of, not that that means anything. I'll look it up on the map. Somehow I've managed to trip over my own laces. It's a real knack to that when you're only moving around in a square metre. I'm just going to rest the camera there, folks, and I'll deal with that. Thank you, Ken. To be fair, it's a bit of a treat when you think about the traffic noise that we had in Dublin. Unavoidable, appreciate that, but we get the occasional bit of traffic here, but all is good. Robin Harrison, welcome back to the show. Windy but sunny Morecambe. Well, I think that might set the tone for what we're getting. It's supposed to get sunnier as the day progresses, which is why we've kind of got tempted back for a show at about 1:45 or thereabouts, get the sunshine while it's there. Alan T, control tower coming to you now, buddy. See what I think I'm going to do. I've got 30 minutes on this battery. Always start with the small one, and I've got 20 minutes of show time. So I suppose, well, we've got a slight gap in traffic, because that Southampton flight doesn't look like it wants to go anywhere soon. May as well get ready for the changeover. Yeah, so I might have covered it earlier in the show. 45 metres in height, opened in 2007, several million quid to build, not really surprising. How do I feel, Simon, about the LCFC appointment? Mixed. I think we had to make a decision quite quickly. The other chap, Jesse, I can't think of his second name off the top of my head, wasn't keen on him. Didn't do much of a job at Leeds from what I could see, so... Right, I can see something pushing back. I'm just going for a camera change, folks. Not camera change, battery change. What am I on about? So you'll lose the screen, and then you'll be back with me. See you in a tick. A little bit longer than I planned for. Fingers just wouldn't move with quite the dexterity I was looking for. In Formula 1 terms, disastrous. Marsh, thank you very much, Simon. Cold's affecting my brain. Jesse Marsh, yeah, I don't know, we're in a relegation dogfight. High probability we're going down. It's going to take somebody that's got a bit of nous to turn it round, and if we do go down, you kind of want someone that can bring you back. I'm not sure if we do survive that Dean Smith is what we want in relation to Premier League ambitions. Just a view. Thank you, Ken Alloway. This departure is off to Malaga. That's an interesting point you make, Eddie. I think that's what they call news management, isn't it? Except depends which news outlet you read, because I think it's been suggested that Jesse Marsh has said that he actually changed his mind about us. Well, that's interesting, Nell. Just looking at your history lesson for the day. I do like my history. It does rather look like the plane's been taken for a walk, doesn't it? Can we get in a bit closer? You've got to admire anyone that can wear shorts in those kind of conditions. Do you know that Southampton flight is still sticking around on its own? Simon, I bet there weren't many groans in Nottingham, was there? mean, at the end of the day, if it keeps them up, that's fine, but I'd hate to see that drift into a 3-year contract in the summer, because that ain't the way to go. Miles, I'm inclined to agree with you. It couldn't be an East Midlander like me. Mind you, in the northeast of England, I've noticed that even in the winter, it's not uncommon to see your postman come with shorts on and so forth. Quite a common sight in our parish to see the postman wearing shorts. Then there's a question really for QC Cap. I always imagine that the weather in New Zealand is closer to the UK's rather than Australia, but that's just a punt. Yeah, thanks Simon, lots of sniggering. Yeah, I bet. We're dry at Newcastle, Ken. It's going to be okay here till late afternoon, which is why we're going to go for that pop-up stream. I'll put the thumbnail out for that once I get back home. Weather's fairly unsettled here for the rest of the week, so I thought we'll get a bank of bet in. That's interesting now. I didn't realise Peter was a Kiwi. So it's moist when you call it cats and dogs, kind of suggests they might be closer to the UK than weather-wise. Well, I can tell you out the corner of my eye that Loganair Embraer 145 has been parked up for an age on its way to Southampton. Looks like it's inching towards lining up. Lining up or coming back. So, mindful that people will be joining the show as we go. Good morning to everybody that has recently joined. I'm Mark, your host for Plane Sailing Aviation. This show finishes probably about 7:30, thereabouts. I think the delayed Air France Embraer E190 will be the final plane of the show. We are back on air later today at 1:45, so it'd be great to be in your company again if you can make it, and we'll be on air till about 3. As always, because of the way YouTube is, if you like what you see, please do hit the like button and consider subscribing, and as I always forget to say, please do hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll be able to keep up with what we're publishing and so forth. There you go, Nell, that's something new every day. Turned a roux at the age of 9, grew up in Brisbane. Fancy. Truly international. I'm just going to have a closer look at this Loganair because I think there's other vehicles in attendance. Looks pretty terminal, doesn't it? So I think we can probably chalk that one off. Sorry folks, that's one less departure than I promised you. Oh, thank you now. Over 100 likes. Thank you, one and all. As always, my tablet's frozen. So the last I knew we had 15. So I'm beyond delighted. Early doors and all that. QC Cat, Newcastle weather is similar to Invercargill. But Invercargill windier, twice as wet, but somewhat sunnier and a bit warmer. Yeah, it sounds like that'd be quite tricky to live stream from then, in terms of planning for and all the rest of it. Peter E, did you have a good flight, buddy? 21 degrees here in Spain. Remind me, where in Spain? Were you Mallorca? I can't remember what you said. "21 degrees, beautiful." Right, back on planet Earth. I think that's due to go out before the end of the show. The Air France hop just over yonder is. Thank you, Miles Harrison. Very kind, mate. Benidorm. Excellent flight down. Well, listen, mate, have a great time. Oh, hang on a minute. Looks like they've fixed whatever was ailing that Embraer. No, they haven't. Okay, folks, that wasn't what I was expecting to show you. Andy C, Bob the Boulder, good morning to you, buddy. Welcome back to the show. Hope you've been keeping well. Just literally in the last phase of the show, Andy, but we are back on air again at 1:45. So rather unexpectedly, we're just watching this plane be towed back. Going to be pretty frustrating, isn't it, for the passengers on board? I think I have to have a quick wrapping up here, see what's left to go. Air France hop is probably going to be the last plane of the show at 7:30, having been delayed from its original 6:20 slot. France due to go. Let's have a look. We've seen the Aberdeen Loganair departure. You're looking at the Southampton attempted departure. I think we've got 2 planes left, folks. The return Ryanair flight to Gdansk, which I'm expecting to push back any second, and Air France hop. And I think that's likely to be it, so I think we should probably just about finish on time. Hope everybody's got a nice day planned, and if you are working, that the day goes by as quickly as it can. Brian Pounder, good morning to you. Daniel Yeager, good morning to you. Newcastle, that's in the northeast of England, my friend. Not that far relatively from the Scottish border, but on the east coast of the country. Bobby Livingsworth, good morning to you. Keep a bit of an eye on the Ryanair pushback, but we may as well stay with this procession. Stately as it seems. Paul Rusher, you're right. Geordieland. Let's hope this is nothing too catastrophic. Tell you what, let's have a quick rotate. Steady rotate. Wind's definitely picking up now. Actually, I think this looks like we've got another departure. We'll get there in the end. Here we go. So the plane you're looking at is off to Mallorca. And the Ryanair Gdansk flight is now bleeping away cheerfully. So I think we are going to get 3 departures by show's end. And possibly by then, well, obviously I suppose the Loganair will be off the runway. Just going to quickly fire a snap off, I think. So your screen will freeze momentarily. And while that's trundling along, let's watch the tug being unclipped. Shorts again. That's an Iron Man at work. Oh, 2. Miles, it does look quite ceremonial, doesn't it, the recovering Loganair. Good morning, Jonathan Martin. Welcome to the show. At least the runway is clear now. Scotland's finest takes an early bath. Daniel Yeager, get some good Zeds in, mate. Thanks for joining us. Perhaps catch you later. 1:45, that's right, 1:45 UK time. Andy Taylor, I'm thoroughly impressed. 1 o'clock in the morning, hardcore. Right, so it looks like we're going to get a little bit of OT. We will catch the plane in the foreground, Mallorca, the Air France hop in the background. Oh, maybe there's another one as well. See another Jet 2 moving out. There you go, folks. I did say 7:30, but could well be caught to 8 at this rate of knots. Now it's too cold for flip-flops here. Newcastle, yet to become a flip-flop plane spotting location. Perhaps a couple of weeks in July. Tell you what, I'm ready for a spot of brekkie. Have you got yours on, Ken? So, all poised and ready for the final phase of the show. Eddie, that's because it is. You probably hear this sound a lot. That's me keep shaking the pocket warmers, trying to get them hot. You know, in Formula 1 when drivers complain they can't heat the tyres up, well, for some reason the pocket warmers just aren't heating the pocket up. It's giving me the right shivers. Oh, sorry Daniel, I missed your comment about Dublin. Yes, I was in Dublin with my son Eddie on Saturday. Simon, that's a change. You're normally giving me earache. And just going back to Eddie's comment about Dublin, yeah, absolutely love the place. We just don't seem to get any joy there signal wise, or we do until we get throttled. Everything's peachy, and then after about an hour I think it was, just falls off a cliff, and when you reboot you get similar kind of experience, hour and a half. Perils of roaming, I guess. Interesting though, we never had anything like the same, we didn't have the same problem at all in Amsterdam, and they're both zone 1 locations. Still, what is what is. Let's see if the Gdansk flight is looking likely to move. I think the ops team around it. Doesn't look too lively there, does it? Oh, Jet 2's rolling. Off to Mallorca. Get away, Simon. You also have cult status on this channel. I sent a QC Cat earlier in the chat, wasn't I, that QC Cat has cult status. You also have it. Thank you, Nell. I'm just looking at the light count. Well, mine's stuck, but yes folks, if we can get to 130, that would be fantastic. It would certainly warm this old man up. I'd say the beauty of likes is don't cost you now, so unless you really don't like it, it helps us massively with YouTube. Same with subscribing. Two great things that you can do to help the channel grow. Daniel, Mallorca. For some real sunshine. I think the sunshine that we have at the minute wouldn't defrost a loaf of bread. Oh, I can see Air France, the Air France hop transponding away cheerfully. It's interesting that this outgoing plane is going up the runway to track back rather than going up the taxiway. I wonder if anything's been dropped. I mean, there's no obstructions. And the Loganair aircraft have been fully recovered. In fact, while that's tracking out, can I see some action over there? Bit of pressure on the maintenance pods, I would suspect. Don't worry folks, as soon as this Jet 2 737 turns, I'll bring the camera straight back. Good morning to Daniel Watkins. How are you, my friend? Welcome to the show. I'm Mark, your host. Don't know if we've met before, but just in case. So we've got a couple of planes to depart, and that will bring us to show end. 1, 2, 3 planes to depart as it goes. So thank you for joining us. We are back on air at 1:45 for a pop-up show. We haven't got the thumbnail out yet, but as soon as I've had a cup of tea inside me, I'll have the thumbnail out. 1:45 till 3 o'clock. Show will include the departure of the Emirates 777. So those of you who like to see a bit of heavy action, you will get some of that in the show. Forecast is favourable. Good morning, Jonathan Martin. And we're rolling. Bizarrely, it started drizzling. This is one of the 2 planes we're waiting for. I think this was due out at 7:30. And the other is the delayed Air France hot. See you later then, Alan T. Cyril Denham, good morning to you. No, I'm going to have breakfast at home today, Cyril. I might pick up a latte on the way back, just to tide me over. Bit of immediate warmth. I live about half an hour away, so you know what it is when you got the chills. So Air France hot. Let's have a look. Is there anything happening at the front? They can't be far away from being unclipped. Whether it's because everybody's over here. So we've got the bus there to deboard the passengers with. Suppose we get to see how full this flight really was, don't we? Because I got this notion it wasn't that full. Although saying that, I did fly this route with Flybe 5-6 years ago with work, and it was quite full actually. Miles, been a pleasure, mate, so no worries. Early start tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you again, and thanks for the great support, buddy. Really appreciated. Good night. Phil, we're not quite sure. It's a technical fault of some description. They got to the end of the taxiway and then parked up and then gave way to pretty much everything else. So exactly what is ailing them, I don't know. Looks very much a technical fault. I think this was due out at around 20 to 7 or something like. Right, Air France hop is transponding, so that's all good. So 2 planes to do. And also transponding is the Ryanair Gdansk flight, so all good. So let's just go away from the Loganair. I fancy this will be the next to go. Ryanair's yet to push back, although saying that, still got the tug and everything in the way, haven't we? We'll go back to Loganair momentarily. So hopefully folks have enjoyed the early show. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea an early start, but we're quite a broad church at Plane Sailing Aviation, so if people like to see early action, I can bring you early action. Just too tempting today. It's funny, Eddie, I'm looking at your comment about Gdansk. I was browsing on Ryanair yesterday evening. You've got this like filter, haven't they, where if you say you'll go anywhere, to see what choices that threw up. And Gdansk came up, as did Krakow, both for pretty decent prices really. So it's got me thinking. Miles Harrison, incredibly generous, my friend. Bye Jingo, thank you buddy. Genuinely touched. Listen, have a great day, and well, you know, shame you're not be at show's end. I always go to camera, but you can catch me on the highlights. Either which way, I'm delighted. Beaming from ear to ear, buddy. Thank you. Very generous. Hey, I'm cock a hoop. Well, come on, one of these 2 planes, not this one, that's not going anywhere anytime soon, is it? But it's a bit of a foot race between this one, that really should be in Paris, and this one. I've only flown with Ryanair twice, and I think folks know from posts that I've put out and commentary, I've been impressed. I think for years I was not keen on trying them because I'd probably absorbed too many of the negatives, but pound for pound, pretty good value. But the one thing that really strikes me about them is the boarding efficiency is really Olympic. see folks, or hear, excellent metro service to the station. Doesn't look like anyone's got off that yet, does it? Ken Alloway, is the easy route to the top of Ben Nevis easy, or is that a relative term? I definitely want to do Ben Nevis. Me and Mrs. Plane Sailing Aviation quite like our walking, but she's less keen on me on the very steeps. Bus Boys Bus Channel, hello to you in Gateshead. Welcome back to the show, buddy. Well, no one seems to be in a rush to move. It's one of those moments just screaming out for an unscripted bizjet to depart, to arrive. Daniel Watkins, sorry to hear you feeling a bit down, buddy. Well, you're always welcome here, trust me. So if we can do anything that cheers you up by our company, then that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm just looking at, you lost your nan in January. I mean, it's been a few years since I lost my nan, but yeah, I think everybody in the chat will be able to empathise with that, buddy. It's a toughie. So let's have a look. Ben Nevis, it's a walk most of the way, very rocky paths at times, super views when clear. Yeah, I think I'm going to try marketing that to Mrs. Plane Sailing Aviation. She tends to like a lot of guarantees about what kind of terrain that she's going to encounter. A couple of years back we did Langdale Pike in Cumbria, and in places, certainly the route we took was a lot more challenging than I'd led her to believe. To be fair, it was more challenging than I'd expected. Phil Tovey, a pleasure to be in your company, mate. So you have yourself a good day and look forward to catching you next time out. It's just like nobody wants to leave. We've got two planes that are, well, imminent to go, overdue, and we've got another one which should have gone, but clearly ain't going nowhere. Although it's interesting, the bus is still empty. You'd kind of thought the passengers would have been deboarded. That must be because they think there's a possibility of reinstating whatever the problem was. Kind of points to a software issue, doesn't it? I suppose there's an upside to the delay. I did think that the journey home would be probably a little bit snarled up with rush hour type traffic, although on a bank holiday week you'd expect a lot of people to be off, those with kids and so forth. Right, I think I can see somebody moving there. I think this is next to go. Certainly the ops team look like they are making ready. Simon, no, there's deductions to be made for not turning up at 6 o'clock. As if. To be fair, a son that buys a Guinness for you at the airport has got a lot going for him. I think the thing was on Saturday's stream with the challenges that we had over in Dublin, and we still enjoyed ourselves. It was a cracking day, and it's almost hard to imagine not enjoying yourself in Dublin. But the frustrations with the throttling that we experience with signal are frustrating, because obviously we like to share with you what we can see. But you know, when we walked back to the airport, chewing the fat, went for a couple of drinks, yeah, all's right with the world. So yeah, Eddie's exonerated for the late start today. He's still boosted by the Guinness that he bought me. Yeah, I'm just looking at Simon's comment about, for you Daniel Watkins, yeah, you just got to surround yourself with things and people that you love. I know it's a cliche, but it does get easier. It just doesn't get easier quickly enough, does it? But yeah, keep yourself around friends and things that you enjoy doing. It will get easier, buddy. Okay, it looks like Ryanair aren't going to grace me with a move. No, I don't think it is, Ken. What they have been doing is going up the runway and turning back on themselves. But since it's moved, it is over on the far side of the apron. So it shouldn't be blocking anything now. But even if it was, they'd do what the last 2 or 3 departures did. Just go out up the runway and backtrack. It does seem a little bit surreal though, doesn't it? Is anyone on this bus yet? Yeah. Looks like they're just boarding that up now, so I think that's definitely kiboshed. I think the thing is with Ryanair in particular, even if it was blocking, they'd be chomping on the bit, wouldn't they, trying to get as far in line as they could. Michael Painter, thank you for joining us, and do take care. I'd imagine the passengers on this plane are getting a bit fidgety. They've been on the plane for what, an hour and a half, I would say, easy. It was due out at 20 past 6, but I don't think they were boarded by that time. Well, at this rate of knots, I wish I'd brought some provisions with me. Say we're in something of a foot race. Instincts say this is first to go. QC Cat, yeah. There's nothing sort of hoppy about today's hop, is there? You'd have to say that kind of implies a technical issue. I mean, certainly in runway terms, the deck's clear. Even if they've missed their slot and had to file a new flight plan, I would have expected them to be rolling by now. I suppose the only thing that counts against there being a technical issue is there is nobody currently attending the Embraer. Everyone in the house seems to be over here. Nope. Bus boys, bus channel. Don't worry mate, this is not Plane Sailing Aviation's bus channel. So that looks like passengers are off. Engineers under pressure. Ah, that's a good East Midlands word, Simon. Snap. Yeah, I should have bought some snap. Which to the uninitiated would be food like your lunch. Snap time would be your lunch time. Yeah, I think you're right, Ken. Gdansk is short odds favourite to be the next to go. Like I say, we've got 2 left to conclude the show, although I'm going to keep my eye on the horizon because with the OT we've done, I don't want to miss anything incoming. We only had a couple of incomers during the planned run time, so I've not really paid much attention to anything else. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's an EasyJet on its way in, due to land in 10. So I think we'll have that as well by the look of it. And then fingers crossed, I can bid you all a beautiful good morning and look forward to rejoining you at lunchtime. Tell you what, now the clouds are clearing and the sun is really making itself felt. It was quite pleasant. Jonathan, you're 10 minutes away, are you? Where's that? Pontyland? Brunswick? Just chucking a couple out there. Ah, you're right, ordering McDonald. It's a big deal, isn't it, getting the flags the right way up? I'm told even the Union Jack has a right way up, which might sound obvious to many of you, but I think originally I was assuming it was a thoroughly symmetrical flag. So folks, we're deep into added time. We were expecting to finish at 7:30, but we're hanging on for this outgoing Ryanair Gdansk flight, and it's very overdue and would have been the final plane of the show, still could be I suppose, Embraer E190 standard in the Air France Hop livery, which is off to Paris Charles de Gaulle eventually. Whether things are currently difficult in France given other troubles, who knows, but either which way. 150 likes? What? Oh, we are at 150, Eddie, or you're banging the drum for 150? Oh, Miles, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. I still think you'll get your dinner before this Loganair plane disappears anywhere. There you go, mate, just to reassure you. Money's on the dinner. Probably going to go like this: Ryanair 737 to Gdansk, dinner, EasyJet incoming flight from Belfast, can't be far off finals. This Air France, oh, I don't know, we may have to chalk this one off for another day. EasyJet must be somewhere in my eye line overflying this. Probably a telescope issue, Ken, because looking around it's a mostly blue sky. Can't see it, but with a flight radar I can hear it. So that should be with us. It now says 15 minutes. Just passing the north of the airport, which is actually where there's a bit more cloud. Ops team are still gathered around the front of the plane, aren't they? Look like they've got the hold shut, does it? Jonathan Martin, thank you so much. Every like counts, so brilliant. Just the way that YouTube is, isn't it? You need the likes and the subscribers to get promoted in a reasonable way. And of course for a small channel like ourselves, where you don't have much of a footprint, it's kind of chicken and the egg, isn't it? No, so do I. I'm itching to film some action and share with you good people something that moves, except the camera being panned periodically. I think what we're going to have to do, we'll take the Belfast arrival, and if nothing else is moving, I think I'm going to bring the show to an end, because this could run into mid-morning, I fear. I know that sounds a bit dramatic. We are back at 1:15, and what I don't want to be doing is just broadcasting no action, because obviously you deserve better than that. It is the nature of live broadcast though, isn't it? You know, there's so much that we don't have in our control or gift, but we try. So I reckon smart money is gonna be on EasyJet, the A320 that's just turning over the North Sea at the minute. Although that's interesting, there must be something else going on here, because that looks to me like that's on a hold. It's turning north now past Seaton Sluice, which is about where it would come in, but it doesn't look like it's shaping to turn in yet. It is ish now, just taking a wide loop perhaps. I think I am going to go for an alternative channel, Plane Sailing Aviation's bus channel. Look, it's moving. Check out those vibrant colours. It does make you feel a bit going on holiday, doesn't it? There we go. And there's me doubting this plane was ever going to move. So thanks for bearing with us, folks. So we will cover this and the EasyJet arrival. Yep, that is turning in. The bigger loop, it definitely looks like it's in some kind of hold, because they normally turn in at Seaton Sluice, should I say, and this one's coming in over Blythe. So I've got a feeling it's going to do a circuit. For what reason, I don't know. I mean, let's face it, this is going to be probably 5 minutes from being in the sky. Maybe a little bit longer. Hop is hopping. Hoppity hop. You are right, Nell. The action does come for those who are patient. Trouble is, sometimes I'm the worst for being patient. Am I right? Fidgeter. But you are right. Just looking at the chit chat between Eddie and Simon Kirby. Old man. I'm a young old man. Right, where is our EasyJet? Come on, EasyJet. Yeah, it's doing a loop over Cramlington. So I think it's exactly what it says, 8 minutes for that. I think by then we ought to have had a chance of waving off this plane. So I think, folks, we're in the last 10-15 minutes of the show. In fact, I will stick my neck out. By 8:30 we're done. So thanks for sticking with us. Action kind of tailed off a little bit, didn't it, from a promising start. Jane Latter, good morning. Did you have a nice time in Dubai? Or are you still in Dubai? Yeah, it's hard to think this plane was due to go at 6:20. So this could well be the last departure of the show. We've gained a bonus arrival through our overrunning with an EasyJet Belfast flight currently holding. Let's see where it's at the minute. Just crossing the coast. Audrey, closer to your part of the world actually. Not quite as far up as New Biggin. but heading back to the North Sea, and I'm going to guess we'll drift round into finals from here. So flight radar say 3 minutes on that. Oh, and the Gdansk flight has pushed back. Suddenly, after a slumber party, we are all at it. There you go, folks. So 2 departures, 1 arrival, and then we will be closed for this phase of today, back on air at 1:45. So good stuff. So Jane, you got back 2 weeks ago, 35 degrees some days. Wowee. I mean, that is pretty searing. I mean, you're talking to a guy here who got sunburnt in Edinburgh a few weeks ago on a live stream. I think it was that Monday one we did. Came back looking like a Swan Vesta, and I have put some sun cream on. So to my right, I can see a runway inspection going on. This delayed Paris flight now rolling. Saying earlier in the chat, birdsong is fantastic. I don't know if you can pick any of it all. I mean, it's relatively close to the city of Newcastle, but equally you are, as you can tell from the background, pretty much out in the country. It's amazing how you go from urban to rural. Two more likes for 150, that would be splendiferous, folks. Must be 2 people who like what they see who've yet to hit the button. No worries though, it's not just about the likes, they're important, but your company even more important. Andy C, great morning to you, sir. Look forward to catching up with you again in the future. Well, the good news is that incoming EasyJet is on finals. I think. Train in the background, that's on finals too. We'll cut away from this in a second, folks, because what else have I got to show you very quickly? We've gone from slumber to all action. Here's our Gdansk flight. We'll just stay with that a couple of seconds while we wait for the incoming EasyJet to get to a better position for us. Sam Thurlaway, good morning to you. Yeah, there's a regular Air France service here. I'm a bit sketchy on this. I think 3 a day. It was one which I was planning to check out myself and take Mrs. Plane Sailing Aviation to Paris for a long weekend, but with all the argy-bargy out there, I think we'll wait for it to settle down. Mrs. Plane Sailing Aviation is not really for, you know, piles of rubbish in the street and angry crowds and that kind of thing. think of it, neither's Mr. Plane Sailing Aviation. So only our third landing of the show. We also gained the ASL freighter that came in earlier in the show, which wasn't part of what we were expecting, but arrived slightly late from Edinburgh. So folks, a bit sharp on the switch there, cold digits. Right, we'll stay with this whilst we await the Air France hops lining up. Nell says there's a BA from London coming in soon. Question of how soon, Nell? If it was going to be another 15 minutes, I think I'd have to draw the show to a close, as I need to get home to get more things charged back up. I've travelled pretty light today, so other than the spare camcorder battery, I kind of figured I'd have enough to run off everything else is integral batteries, internal batteries, without any extras. So it's going to be a case of getting back to the ranch. However, if it's within easy range for us, it would be rude to leave it on the table. That looks great in the light, doesn't it? Right, let's just make sure I don't miss this Air France hop. I think we're about ready to roll. Off into the blue. So here's the last departure of the show. Matter of minutes away, folks, so thank you for bearing with us, one and all. Ken, Nell, I'm convinced we're going to have to do the BA. I've got eyes on it. So, one in, one out, show to close. Fantastic. So thank you everybody. It's been a real pleasure to be in your company this morning. It is every time I'm with you on the show, but when I turned up to do an early bird show, I wasn't sure really whether there was enough demand for early bird action. I think we've established there is, so that's good. Margaret McKenna, good morning to you. Sorry, I've just spotted you in the chat, and I do apologise if I've missed anybody else. Peter Hall, Thor Cloud. I do try to keep on top of the chat. Good morning to you, one and all. Yes, that was relatively late. Perhaps the pilots just had enough of waiting around. Ken, I'm back on air. at 1:45, so there's no thumbnail out yet. We're going to be doing a pop-up, so folks, within an hour of me getting home, I will be putting a thumbnail out advertising our next show, which will be 1:45 today from Newcastle International Airport through till around 3 o'clock. So mid-afternoon show. Emirates 777, the departure of, will be in that, so I do hope folks can join us. You see, LA might have the home of the one more plane, but I reckon we're the kind of, at Newcastle, the home of the one more extra plane. Copyright pending. Mad Mattock, is Newcastle open 24/7? I would say yeah, but not. You don't. I don't know. You'd have to look at Flight Radar. There are out of hours charter departures, but I don't know. It doesn't really feel like a full 24/7. Not like, I say, Manchester or Stansted. But they do have planes that go out in the small hours and come back in the small hours. Well, our Ryanair 737 is staying put for the minute. Just having a quick look, see, check there's nothing it's holding for. Sorry folks, I'm not keeping up with this. Bus is escaping me. Takes its place at gate 3. We might get a quick look at the countdown clock before the Ryanair goes pedal to the metal. Carl Shield, Ian Hall, good morning. Mattock, the Emirates will be in at 12 o'clock and we'll have it in our afternoon show departing at about 1:45. Globemaster C-17. Above me to my left. Let's have a look, see. Just can't see it, Ken. Oh, crikey, I've just biffed the camera. Sorry, folks. Well, I think we're done with that. I'll have a look, see, Ken. There's our Gdansk plane. No, I just cannot see it. That might be because of the cloud rather than my usual telescope issue. So you look at what will be the final plane of the show. Let's have a look. Just gone 8:30, so we'll give it a couple more minutes. Don't like leaving things on the table. Equally, that seems to be the Bermuda Triangle, doesn't it? Because that's where the Loganair got to before things kind of peeled off. Paul Heron, sorry mate, I must have missed you in the chat. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, have a nice day, my friend. Oh, come on, something is coming in, but it looks like a helicopter at first glance. There we are, a bit of unscripted chopper action. Hopefully, as soon as this clears, Ryanair will be rolling. The nice thing about Newcastle, it doesn't have the commercial passenger densities of the bigger airports. You do get a nice little mix of the unexpected from time to time. Small light aircraft, helicopters, so forth. See those pesky bushes in front play havoc with the focus. Well, that's about done with that. LW, thank you. That was an Augusta AW190SP. Now, I'd never have intuited that one. Loganair engineer has arrived, reports Miles. Let's just see what's going off then. The tow truck's come to take it away. So what we're going to do, just to save on a little bit of time, I'm just going to say thanks and goodbye, and then we'll finish with the Ryanair as it goes over our head. So just bear with me 2 seconds, folks. Here we go. So, early bird show. I've enjoyed being here. Hopefully folks have enjoyed what we've been able to show. Been the unexpected in the form of this broken down Loganair, but it's been great at this end. A bit chilly, but I'd love to do this again. I think overall, viewing numbers suggest that there's enough people want to see it, so that's what we're going to do. Miles Harrison, I'm Mark, pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for your generous super chat donation, really, really kind. I was just about to fetch up the chat again just to check there's nothing else that I need to acknowledge. Okay, that's enough of me. You've seen enough already, I'm thinking, but it's been a real pleasure. So we'll take the Ryanair departure, assuming it goes in the next 3 or 4 minutes, but I don't want to keep you here watching more static tarmac. don't think that's what you want. And of course we're back on air at 1:45 through till 3, so hopefully people will be able to join us then. I'd rather save it all up for some action. Right, I'll swap back round. Anyway, thank you everybody. Bad matter, can't be everywhere, mate. Thanks, Miles Harrison, so kind, sir. I think what we'll do, we'll give it till 8:40, 3 minutes. If it's not rolled by then, folks, let's get stuck into the day and catch up later, all being well. Nell, it's my favourite hat. For those who don't know, Nell knitted this for me, resplendent with the PSA aviation, Plane Sailing Aviation. Yeah, it's essential, and to be fair, on a day like today, I'd be shaking like a leaf with cold without a good hat on, so thank you for that. My beanie. It's a bespoke special. It's kind of ironic really. I mean, I've been on air since 6 o'clock. These pocket warmers I started up 15 minutes before I went on air. They're only just starting to get hot now. Best part 3 hours later. Okay, if it doesn't move, last minute of the show. You know what's going to happen, don't you? We'll draw it to a close and the thing will move, but there's plenty more planes. Yeah, I've seen Matuk, I've seen the Kuwait C-17 here back in the summer. I don't know whether it's correct or not, but I'm reliably informed they do some kind of foreign currency pickup from Belarus, the currency printers. Thank you, Jonathan Martin. Look forward to being in your company later. Right, I'm going to have to call it then, folks. So thank you for bearing with me and seeing if we could get this one over the line. Really look forward to seeing as many of you as we can later, but whatever you choose to do with the day, thanks for spending some of it with us. Have a great time and catch you later.